Exclusive contract with Feilu Novel Network Novel. Zongwu, second senior brother of Xueyue City, entered into Immortals through reading. Qingfeng traveled to the world of comprehensive martial arts and became a child of 7 or 8 years old. At the same time, he awakened his reading system, and reading would earn him rewards. Get a reward of Born Sword Heart by reading the first book. Worshipping Snow Moon City as a child. Under the sword intent of the 5 great sword immortals in the world, the Snow Moon Sword Immortal Hanyi, he persisted in staying true for 10 breaths and used the Willow as his sword, breaking the sword intent of the Sword Immortal. Become the second senior brother of Snow Moon City. Unrivaled talent, renowned throughout the world. Although he has not walked around the world, he is famous all over the world. Later, in the library of Xueyue City, Qingfeng was mesmerized. The host reads 100 books and receives a reward of 100 years of martial arts cultivation. The host reads 300 volumes and receives a reward of Tai Chi meaning. The host reads 1,000 volumes and receives a reward of Haranjingqi. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. Chapter 1 Little Beggar. Master Xueyue City. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Finally arrived, the first city in the world. A 7 or 8-year-old child, disheveled, raised his thin chin and looked at the huge city in front of him. His innocent face breathed a sigh of relief. Snow Moon City. Also known as the #1 city in the world. There are 3 city lords sitting inside. The lord of the great city, by Li Dongjun, with a cultivation of half a step, is revered by the world as a wine immortal. Li Hanyi, the second lord of the city, is the pinnacle of the great Xiaoyao realm and one of the 5 great sword immortals in the world. He is revered by the world as the Snow Moon Sword Immortal. The 3 city lords, Qingfeng, have reached the pinnacle of the great leisure realm and are revered by the world as the Spear Immortal. These 3 people, any one of them is a terrorist presence that suppresses one side. This journey is really not easy. Qingfeng's eyes sighed. He wandered through this world in a daze and even became a child of 7 or 8 years old, surrounded by war and people struggling to make a living. After inquiring and inquiring, he found out that this is a world of comprehensive martial arts, where dynasties compete for power and there are numerous forces. And his dynasty is the Bailey dynasty in the Youth Song Festival. Surrounded by Liyang, Beimang, Deming, and the Song sect forces are constantly emerging, including Snow Moon City, Wangqing Mountain, Wudang Mountain, Shaolin Temple, Yihua Palace, Ancient Tomb Sect, Chuanjin Sect, Beiliang, Longhu Mountain. Fortunately, he awakened the reading system and worked tirelessly to find a book, opening a beginner's gift package through reading. Acquire the innate sword heart talent. Otherwise, he would have died on the road long ago. Despite this, a child of 7 or 8 years old came from afar, and only he knew the hardships involved. Nowadays, I am so hungry that I almost lose my face. I am thin and ragged, just like a beggar. The library in the world's first city is undoubtedly incredibly rich. Qingfeng's eyes flashed with anticipation. After awakening the reading system, he could earn rewards and improve his cultivation by reading books. But there is a high demand for the quality of books, they must be treasures of the world. This is also the reason why he came here from afar to pay his respects. With longing, Qingfeng walked into the city of Snowy Moon. Ignoring the strange gazes of the people in the city, he walked straight towards the tallest building in the city and climbed to the heavenly pavilion. In front of the heavenly pavilion, Qingfeng stood still and looked up. With a total of 16 floors and a height of hundreds of meters, the building was full of ancient charm. Even so, he could feel the sharp sword intent faintly visible on the 16th layer. Since obtaining the innate sword heart, he has been extremely sensitive to swords. At the top level, there must be a peerless sword cultivator sitting there. In front of the gate of the heavenly pavilion, two guards glanced at him and then turned their heads. As the number one city in the world, many people come here every year to admire it. They have seen no strange things for a long time. In vain, a guard exclaimed in surprise, "Oh, that little beggar is coming towards us." Not waiting for them to react. Qingfeng had already approached, first arched his hand and bent down, then loudly said, Qingfeng, come and pay my respects to Xueyue city." "What?" The air remained calm. A guard's face showed impatience as he waved his hand and said in a dark tone, "Where did the little beggar come from? He actually wants to apprentice to Snow Moon City. Let's go quickly. You should know that in Snow Moon City, except for 3 city lords, only elders are eligible to accept apprentices. This has also resulted in extremely few disciples from Snow Moon City and extremely demanding requirements. Anyone who takes it outside is a talented person from heaven, representing the face of Snow Moon City. And the little beggar in front of me, dressed in rags and with a slender figure, could fly out of the ground for 2 miles in a gust of wind. Surprisingly, you still want to learn from Xueyue City. It's simply wishful thinking." Upon hearing this, Qingfeng frowned. He had originally thought that as the number one city in the world, Snow Moon City would definitely follow the rules. There should be an exam question for him to try. But now I bully him for being young. At present, Qingfeng was no longer polite and raised his eyebrows, saying, "Is this how the world's first city treats sincere people?" Qingfeng is not a fool either. Although his tone is not good, the information he reveals is meaningful. Firstly, the first half of the sentence acknowledges the title of Xueyue City as the number one city in the world, while the second half describes oneself as a sincere person. Suddenly, a young child trekked through mountains and rivers, enduring countless hardships. Just because he longed to learn from the world's first city, his image immediately became full of ridicule and frustration from the guards. Sure enough. As soon as these words were spoken, the people in the surrounding city who were attracted immediately stopped talking. He came to pay his respects sincerely. How could Xueyue City treat him so rudely? What's wrong with beggars? As the number one city in the world, don't we still have the heart to tolerate others? We can't afford to lose this person in Xueyue City. How could we set an exam question and let him give it a try? The sage said. Education without discrimination. Seeing this aroused the anger of the group, the 2 guards looked ugly. As the best city in the world, Snow Moon City has a mixed eyeliner of forces in the city. If this matter becomes serious today, Snow Moon City may even become a laughingstock in the world. I will talk about it after dinner. They can't afford the consequences. Immediately, a guard wiped the sweat off his forehead and quickly explained, "Everyone, please be calm. Just now, we thought this little brother was here to entertain us, but we didn't expect him to come here sincerely." After speaking, he quickly bowed and apologized, "Little brother, I apologize just now." Qingfeng murmured inwardly, his attitude changed very quickly. He just called someone a little beggar, but now he has become a little brother. It is truly the number one city in the world. It's reasonable. Upon seeing this, Qingfeng's childish face showed a hint of frustration, as if she had been greatly wronged. With the persuasion of everyone, she reluctantly said, "Well, everyone knows people by face, I've been used to it for a long time." As soon as this sentence is spoken, everyone immediately glared angrily at the guard. Look, their children are so kind. They are so kind that people feel heartbroken. They have traveled mountains and rivers to sincerely seek guidance, but after being ridiculed by you, they have chosen to forgive. By comparison, are you still human? The 2 guards are itching with hatred at this moment. This little beggar, even after getting a discount, is still being obedient. Just then, a cold female voice rang out. Are you going to apprentice? P.S. The 9th grade of martial arts is the lowest, and the 1st grade is the highest. Above the 9th level. Diamond Realm, Free Land Realm, Free Sky Realm, Great Free Realm, Sword Immortal Realm, Divine Mysterious Realm. Chapter 2. Shocking. Hard Steel Snow Moon Sword Immortal. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. In front of the heavenly pavilion. A cold voice sounded. Everyone's heart froze and fell silent. Above. A peerless beautiful figure, wearing a mask, fluttered down, with green threads dancing in the air. Her exposed skin was fair and flawless, her legs slender like jade, and she was holding a sword in her hand. A pair of beautiful eyes as black as ink, with a hint of indifference. The face behind the mask must be incredibly beautiful. I've met the Second Lord. Everyone changed their expressions and bowed respectfully. In this chaotic world, they were able to live and work peacefully thanks to the strength of the three city lords. And the person in front of me is Hanyi, the second lord of Snow Moon City and one of the 5 great sword immortals in the world. I'm Qingfeng. I'm here to pay my respects to Xueyue City. Qingfeng immediately arched his hand and bent down, showing immense respect. The Snow Moon Sword Immortal in front of me can kill him 800 times with just one breath. He dares not cause trouble. In this world, the strong are respected, and killing someone without a word is perfectly normal. I'll give you a chance, as long as you stand still and persist for 10 breaths, I'll personally take you as my disciple. Hanyi's beautiful eyes were calm, with hands on his back and a proud chest. She was originally practicing swordsmanship with her eyes closed on the top floor of the heavenly pavilion, but there was a lot of noise below the attic, disturbing the tranquility. There is no intention of accepting apprentices this time in order to resolve the matter. So, these 10 breaths, she had no intention of letting the child pass. As the words fell, Hanyi's eyes moved slightly, and in an instant, a powerful pressure came crashing down. The people around were pushed several meters away by invisible energy, and their souls were still in shock. Ah! A scream came to an abrupt end. I saw 2 guards with grim faces, unable to hold their breath and fainting with screams. Hanyi's eyes were cold, and the guards bullied others. They deserve punishment. And in the field, a thin and small figure is struggling to persevere. At this moment, Qingfeng's brain was in a daze. The momentary pressure almost made him gasp for breath, his veins burst out, and he clenched his fists tightly. 1 breath, 2 breaths, 3 breaths. The onlookers were all shocked and couldn't believe it. 3 breaths, this child surprisingly persisted in 3 breaths under the aura of the current sword immortal. Those 2 guards were at least 3rd grade experts and almost never persisted for an instant. Ha! A hint of surprise flashed on Hanyi's stunningly beautiful face under her mask, and she could see that Qingfeng had no cultivation. Although she only used a hint of pressure, it is absolutely impossible for ordinary people to persevere. Moreover, he is still a child of 7 or 8 years old. It's a bit interesting. At this point, 5 breaths have passed. Hanyi's eyes flashed with a hint of sharpness, and his power instantly doubled. The ground of the city road made a cracking sound. Qingfeng's eyes were bloodshot, his young body trembling as he stood, and his gaze under his unkempt head gradually became a bit crazy. Sword Immortal. Nothing more than that. In 2 generations, he has never been a lamb to be slaughtered, even if his target is the current Sword Immortal, his eyes are still rebellious. In addition, with the talent of innate sword heart that comes with systematic rewards, it has a natural resistance to intimidating sword intentions. He can still persist. Hiss. Is it really fake? This child actually withstood the 5 breath time, is this really a child? Not only did he resist, but he also dared to mock the second city lord. What a reckless little lunatic. More and more people gathered to watch, showing shock on their faces. The news of Xueyue City is smooth. At this moment, the news about Qingfeng has already spread throughout the city. You're great. Hanyi's eyes were cold. As one of the 5 sword immortals in the world, she had never been so mocked before, and she was still a child. At the same time, a hint of love for talent also rose in her heart. However, she has long been accustomed to loneliness and still has no intention of accepting an apprentice. That's all, let him not persist. Buzz. In front of the heavenly pavilion, a sudden gust of wind swept through the air, and several sword chi exercises appeared in the surrounding area, cutting wildly in the air. A sword burst out suddenly. Under the sharp edge, people with weak willpower will instantly collapse. In the crowd, the person in charge of a force stationed in Snow Moon City's gaze was shocked and unbelievable, muttering to himself, to deal with a child, even the sword intent was used. The person in charge's gaze at Qingfeng instantly became fiery. This is definitely a genius. At this moment, many people in the crowd held the same idea and looked at Qingfeng, who was still struggling in the field, with fiery eyes. Today, whether or not he joins the Snow Moon City, he will become famous all over the world. Crunch. Qingfeng had a fierce expression on his face, gritting his teeth and making a grinding sound. Although Hanyi controlled the power of the sword, for him, it was no less than a landslide. Bones all over are protesting. The already ragged clothes were torn by the raging sword energy in the air. Blood stains appeared on him one after another. Countless sword intent pounded his soul. Qingfeng's eyes became more crazy, and his thin body seemed to be in the midst of a storm. The greater the pressure, the greater it becomes. Even the onlookers felt a suffocating sensation. Do you want me to bow down? Qingfeng gritted his teeth, lifted his bent neck fiercely, and his eyes turned red, showing no concern for the constantly appearing bloodstains on his body. If he didn't have a strong sense of pride, how could he have traveled all the way to this Snow Moon City in this chaotic world? This journey has long honed his mind. P.S. The 9th grade of martial arts is the lowest, and the 1st grade is the highest. Above the 9th level. Diamond Realm, Free Land Realm, Free Sky Realm, Great Free Realm, Sword Immortal Realm, Divine Mysterious Realm. Chapter 3. Born Sword Heart, using Willow as sword. You are listening at novelfull.audio. 7 breaths. Hanyi's calm eyes flashed with shock. The sword intent she released at this moment would be extremely difficult to resist even in the Diamond Realm. The target of pressure is only a child who has no cultivation, aged 7 or 8. But he persisted. This is impossible. Hanyi felt a bit dazed. She had originally planned not to accept apprentices for life, but at this moment, she wavered. At this moment. Suddenly, there was a cry of surprise from around. Look, that little beggar actually moved. In the field, Qingfeng struggled to reach his waist with his right hand, which was a willow branch used to tie his waist. At this moment, Qingfeng's eyes were filled with madness. Suddenly pull out the willow branch from the waist. He wants to challenge the current sword immortal. Draw your sword. Hiss. What is that little beggar doing? He doesn't know. Impossible. Absolutely impossible. Crazy, really crazy. At this moment, the people in the city gathered one after another, including those with high martial arts skills. They all showed shock and disbelief on their faces. Some people even feel cold on their backs and sweat profusely. Even Hanyi's eyes were filled with suspicion at this moment, looking at the young figure in front of him with shock. 10 breaths. Break it. Qingfeng held a willow branch in his hand, his eyes wild and vigorous. He followed his heart and used the willow branch as a sword, drawing it out with one strike. This sword marks a unique charm in the air. Everyone felt that at this moment, Hanyi's sword intent, which was under pressure, had weakened by 3 points. The surroundings are quiet and silent. Everyone stared wide-eyed at this scene. This is the Snow Moon Sword Immortal, one of the 5 great sword immortals in the world. Surprisingly, his sword spirit was shattered by a child of 7 or 8 years old. If it hadn't happened before their eyes, they would never have believed it. Heaven. Life. Sword. Heart. Hanyi can no longer maintain a cool demeanor, her eyes stunning. She felt it. This is the highest talent in Kendo, with a natural sword heart. People with this kind of talent are pure and genuine in their hearts. The last person with a natural talent for swordsmanship was hundreds of years ago. Boom. As Hanyi murmured to himself, the surroundings instantly exploded. Surprisingly, he was born with a sword heart. The Snow Moon Sword Immortal personally recognized it. Can there be any falsehood? I can't believe it, there hasn't been such a genius for hundreds of years. Damn it, this peerless demon has actually worshipped Snow Moon City. At this moment, everyone's shocked pupils suddenly shrank. Born with a sword heart, if nothing unexpected happens, one can definitely reach the realm of great freedom in the future, and even challenge the realm of divine wandering. This kind of genius will be held in the hands and hearts of any power. It will definitely be regarded as a profound existence. Hanyi said solemnly, "Would you be willing to worship me as your teacher?" Under the watchful eye of the crowd, Qingfeng held a willow branch in his hand, with a straight figure and clear eyes, and said, "Yes." Although born with a sword-like heart, Qingfeng knew that he had no cultivation. If it weren't for Hanyi constantly controlling the pressure, he would have been able to crush him in an instant. Shoo! A gun shadow descended from the sky and plunged straight into the ground. Congratulations to Xueyue City for accepting another personally passed down disciple. The person who came was the 3 city masters of Snow Moon City, the spear immortal Qingfeng, with both hands on his back and a national character face full of smiles. The look in Qingfeng's eyes was extremely surprising. He saw everything that had just happened clearly in the dark. A peerless swordsmanship genius with a natural sword heart unexpectedly came knocking on his door. What a blessed Snow Moon City! On the contrary, people from all walks of life have a sour heart. Originally, Snow Moon City was already the #1 city in the world. Now we have received another unparalleled genius. In the next few hundred years, the status of Snow Moon City will not be shaken. Just as the crowd was congratulating, Hanyi noticed Qingfeng's pale face and knew that his sword must have consumed a lot of effort. Immediately clear the cold path. Today, I, the Snow Moon Sword Immortal, took Qingfeng as my disciple, that is, the second senior brother of Snow Moon City. This statement is equivalent to announcing to the world. Starting from today, Qingfeng is the personal disciple of Xueyue City and the second senior brother of Xueyue City. High status. Walking all over the world, behind him lies the Snow Moon City. After speaking, Hanyi stepped forward with a jade-like arm and grabbed Qingfeng, carrying a hint of floral fragrance, turning into a sword-like aura and leaving. Before ascending to the heavenly pavilion, some people in the crowd hurriedly left with complex expressions. They want to spread this news back to their own forces as soon as possible. It's so shocking. A little beggar apprenticed to Xueyue City. Without any cultivation, he persisted for 10 breaths under the pressure of the sword intent of the Snow Moon Sword Immortal Hanyi, and finally broke the sword intent with the Willow as his sword. Most importantly, this person is only 7 or 8 years old. And carry a natural sword heart. Such unparalleled talent will surely lead to a dominant future. Wangqing Mountain, under the peach blossom tree. Zhao Yuzhen, dressed in a purple Taoist robe, looked at the letter in his hand and said with great interest, "Interestingly, there has actually appeared another person in this world with a natural sword heart, who is still a little beggar. I really want to go down the mountain and take a look." Tianqi City, Imperial Palace. Emperor Mingde closed his eyes and listened to the eunuch's report. He slowly opened his eyes and exclaimed in surprise, "When Hanyi raised his sword for 3 days and pointed it at my eyebrows, how could this little beggar use a willow branch to break Hanyi's sword intent?" Northern Liang Prince's Mansion. Su Xiao looked at the letter in her hand with a serious expression on her face, and said with an unpleasant expression, "This Bailey has produced another unparalleled genius. It seems that the plan of Ma Ta Jianghu cannot be delayed any longer." Listening to the Tide Pavilion, the Dark Dungeon. Li Chungang, the first-generation sword god, was disheveled, and said with a slut of his mouth, "Even a child with no cultivation dares to draw his sword in anger under the pressure of the sword immortal. I have really become more and more active. When I leave the level, I will definitely go to the Snow Moon City to see him." Wudong Mountain. An old Taoist with a fairy-like demeanor smiled calmly and continued to kindly explain to his disciples, the so-dot called Tai Chi Yin Yang. At this moment, Li Qingfeng's name spread among the forces of various dynasties. Everyone knows that Snow Moon City has another disciple who has been passed down personally, born with a sword heart and unparalleled talent. Although he has not walked around the world, he is famous all over the world. P.S. The 9th grade of martial arts is the lowest, and the 1st grade is the highest. Above the 9th level. Diamond Realm, Free Land Realm, Free Sky Realm, Great Free Realm, Sword Immortal Realm, Divine Mysterious Realm. Chapter 4. The Library of the First City in the World. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Snow Moon City, Library. As the #1 city in the world, the Xueyue City Library occupies a large area and is divided into 3 levels, collecting all the treasures of the world. The 3rd floor of the library. A young child is dressed in white, with a hair tie on his head and a gold auspicious belt tied around his waist, hanging on a jade pendant. His handsome appearance is like that of a nobleman, with a simple and elegant temperament. The young child's sword eyebrows and starry eyes are now standing in front of the bookshelf, holding a scroll in hand and focusing on studying. Qingfeng junior brother. A little girl of 7 or 8 years old is exploring her head. She is already a beautiful woman at a young age, with delicate features and bright and clear eyes. The person who came was Xikong Qianluo, the daughter of the spear immortal Xikong Qingfeng, who was young. The future reputation of the beauty of the world. Li Qingfeng's gaze shifted from the scroll and he smiled, saying, "I want to call you senior brother, Qianluo junior sister." Humph. Xikong Qianluo pouted, his skin crystal clear and innocent, saying, "I am senior sister, you are junior brother." Looking at her innocent appearance, Li Qingfeng walked forward and reached out to pinch her delicate little face. With a wicked smile on his face, he threatened while pinching. "In the future, I will be senior brother and you will be junior sister, otherwise I will spank you. Remember. After all, one's own child bride needs to be educated early." Poor Xikong Qianluo didn't even know that he had been considered private by junior brother Qingfeng. I saw her with tears in her eyes, her small face being pinched back and forth, and her speech blurring as she shouted, "You're a bad person, I'm not calling you senior brother. I'm going to tell senior brother to spank you." The little junior brother in front of her is too bad. She originally wanted to make friends with him, but now she doesn't want this friend anymore. After speaking, he broke free from Li Qingfeng's hand and was about to run downstairs. At the corner of the stairs, a figure walked up and the person who came was Tang Lian, the senior brother of Snow Moon City. Senior brother. When Xikong Qianluo saw him, he immediately seemed to have seen the backbone and ran over with a small face, a look of grievance on his face. Tang Lian's face was puzzled as she said, "What's wrong?" On weekdays, this little sister-in-law looked fearless, but now her eyes are red and her face is full of grievances. This is not very common. It's all him. Xikong Qianluo stared at Li Qingfeng with innocent eyes and gritted his teeth. He asked me to call him his senior brother, and even threatened me to spank my butt. After speaking, a proud expression appeared on his porcelain doll-like face. It seems like saying, "Senior brother will definitely make decisions for me, you wait for me." Nonsense. Tang Lian's expression was serious as she looked at Xikong Qianluo and said solemnly, junior brother Qingfeng has a natural sword heart and is the purest and most genuine person in the world. How could he possibly threaten you? It must be you who is mischievous and provokes others. It has been over a month since Li Qingfeng entered the Snow Moon City. This month, he watched helplessly as this junior apprentice almost stayed in the library. The books in this library are dull and difficult to understand. A child aged 7 or 8 can stay here for a month without feeling bored at all. The mind is as firm as a rock. This extraordinary endurance made him feel ashamed. In addition, my junior sister is the presence of a small tyrant in the Snow Moon City. She is not afraid of heaven and earth, so she must have provoked my junior brother. Senior brother. Xikong Qianluo looked incredulous, as if he had met his senior brother for the first time. Apologized to junior brother Qingfeng quickly. Tang Lian didn't care about her aggrieved appearance, but thought she was acting, so she showed the aura of a senior brother with a serious expression. Xikong was stunned and his young heart was deeply shaken. With a flick of his pink mouth, he burst into tears. Bad people, they are all bad people. You all bullied me. Even though he threatened to spank me, my senior brother asked me to apologize. Woo woo woo. Tang Lian felt a bit heartbroken when she saw this, as her junior sister had never cried like this before. On the side, Li Qingfeng immediately stepped forward upon seeing the situation and said with a helpless expression, "Senior brother, it was me who threatened my junior sister. Don't blame her, she's still young. I should apologize." Upon hearing this, Tang Lian originally felt a little sorry for her junior sister. Now, with a cold face and righteous indignation, she said, "Junior brother Qingfeng, don't speak for her anymore. Junior sister has been spoiled by us. Senior brother will compensate you for her." Woo woo. Xikong Qianluo beside him cried even louder, tears streaming down his face, choking up and saying, I Xikong Qianluo and you are at odds. She has never suffered such a big loss in her lifetime. What is a natural sword heart, what is pure and true, they are all scams. I thought I had a talented and pure junior brother, but to my surprise, he was a big bad wolf with a dark belly. Senior brother, forget it, I'll forgive junior sister. Li Qingfeng quickly spoke up to persuade. Tang Lian sighed and said, "Junior brother Qingfeng is really too kind. Such a person, why not be a fallen senior brother?" Due to the fact that the junior sister is the daughter of the 3 city lords, Xikong Changfeng, everyone subconsciously believes that she is the senior sister. In fact, she has never formally studied under Xueyue city, so calling her junior sister is also correct. Upon hearing this, Li Qingfeng's eyes lit up. He didn't want to be the junior brother of Xikong Qianluo, one of his future wives. At this moment, he solemnly said, "Don't worry, senior brother. I will definitely protect junior sister in the future. Senior brother believes in you." Tang Lian nodded earnestly, admiring her gaze. This is equivalent to being practical. From now on, Li Qingfeng will be his senior brother. Xikong, with tears streaming down his face, glared angrily at Li Qingfeng and said angrily, "Wait for me." After speaking, I ran away feeling aggrieved. Ding. The host reads 100 volumes of precious books and receives a reward of 10 years of martial arts cultivation. After solving the problem of the junior sister, Li Qingfeng began to continue reading books. At this moment, listening to the system prompt, I breathed a sigh of relief in my heart. Now my martial arts cultivation has reached the level of 7th grade. P.S. The 9th grade of martial arts is the lowest, and the 1st grade is the highest. Above the 9th level. Diamond Realm, Free Land Realm, Free Sky Realm, Great Free Realm, Sword Immortal Realm, Divine Mysterious Realm. Chapter 5. No sun or moon in the library pavilion. Enter the Diamond Realm. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5. No sun or moon in the library pavilion. Enter the Diamond Realm. I originally wanted to read 100 books in a day and laugh about the world's literature, but I'm still too young. A bitter smile appeared on Li Qingfeng's handsome face. He originally thought that he could become a top expert in the world in a short period of time by studying at the library in the world's #1 city. As a result, reality slapped him hard. These precious collections of books in the world are obscure and difficult to understand, with extremely concise vocabulary. Often, one sentence requires him to constantly think in order to understand them. Fortunately, he became more and more proficient, and also gained a certain understanding of the vocabulary used by these predecessors and sages. Reading has become increasingly relaxed recently. Now I have read 100 books in just 1 month, and my martial arts cultivation has reached the 7th grade level. We still need to work hard. Li Qingfeng's eyes were firm as he looked out the window of the library towards the azure sky, with a smile on his face. This world is too big, too exciting. He can't wait to go see this world. Suddenly, Li Qingfeng was taken aback for a moment, then shook his head and smiled. It seems that my mental training is not enough. I thought my willpower was strong enough. Unexpectedly, it is still restless. As the ancient said, practicing the heart is like practicing iron, requiring constant beating. The ancients also said that in books there is a golden house, and in books there is a beauty as jade. Smiling, Li Qingfeng picked up a book and immersed himself in it. Time is fleeting, like a white horse passing through a gap. 6 months later. Library. The sunlight shone through the window on the bookshelf, and ancient books were neatly arranged, with a faint ink fragrance lingering in the air. The taste is extremely pleasant, making people concentrate and calm. Ding. The host reads 300 volumes of precious books and receives a reward of 100 years of cultivation. The sound of prompts in my mind suddenly rang out. Li Qingfeng's eyes flickered with a hint of confusion, and his whole body trembled. Diamond Realm. TSK, I have been practicing martial arts for half a year and have entered the realm of Vajra. Speaking of it may scare people to death. Li Qingfeng rarely showed a hint of evil interest on his face. The 100-year cultivation here is calculated based on the cultivation talent of ordinary people. Then he stopped thinking much and continued reading the scroll in his hand. In the past 6 months, he has long fallen in love with reading, which are the lifelong insights of the predecessors and sages, containing the path of life. Extremely precious. Snow Moon City, the main courtyard of the 3 cities. A girl with a slender figure, wielding a long spear and dancing with a tiger, listened carefully and heard the sound of a sonic boom faintly visible. Ha! With a cold shout, the girl lightly stepped down and her figure rushed straight out, with a spear in her hand flying away. Bang! This shot plunged fiercely into the boulder, and the barrel trembled. Good girl, you have already started your marksmanship. On the side, the 3 city lords, Qingfeng Changfeng, stroked their beards and looked extremely satisfied. Undoubtedly, she is her own daughter with amazing talent. She started shooting at the age of 9. Qingfeng Qianluo took a deep breath, his beautiful face carrying a heroic aura. He waved a spear flower in his hand, tilted it to his side, and raised his eyebrows, saying, "My martial arts cultivation has reached the level of 5th grade, and my marksmanship has also entered the door. Today is the time for me to seek revenge against that bookworm." Over the past 6 months, she has come up with countless ways to seek revenge against that black-bellied Li Qingfeng. As a result, I was taught severely every time. Last time I was spanked. That crisp sound at the thought of this, Qingfeng Qianluo's fair and tender face was filled with shame and anger, and he must seek revenge this time. Upon hearing these words, the 3 city lords, Qingfeng Changfeng, had a stern expression. Li Qingfeng was the future heritage of Snow Moon City, and his face immediately became serious. Qingfeng, that child, was born with a sword-like heart and a pure and genuine nature. For the past 6 months, he has been obsessed with his own heart in that library, and as a father, you are not allowed to disturb him. Throughout the journey of martial arts, what we see in the later stages is our understanding and state of mind. Li Qingfeng already has unparalleled talent, coupled with this temperament, the future is limitless. Dad. Xikong Qianluo's pretty face turned red with anger, and he looked at his father in shock. Damn Li Qingfeng, he fooled everyone. The whole Snow Moon City was praising him and speaking for him. Only she knows her true face. Oh my goodness, it's unfair. How could such a person be born with a sword heart? On the other side, Tang Lian looked at Li Hanyi in shock and said, Second Master, is this not good? After all, I have already entered the realm of Vajra. I didn't expect that Second Master would come to him and ask him to teach junior brother Qingfeng a lesson. As the name suggests, give him some stimulation and hope he will work hard to cultivate martial arts. The key is that I have entered the realm of Vajra and become a first-class powerhouse above the 9th rank. And junior brother Qingfeng has been reading books in the library every day for the past 6 months. Even if he has strong talent, his cultivation can exceed the 7th grade at most. Isn't this bullying someone? Li Hanyi glanced coldly at him and said, Qingfeng has such a peerless talent as a sword heart, but he spends half a year reading books in that library every day. Now he has wasted half a year. As his senior brother, do you want to watch him neglect his duties? Now that Li Qingfeng has just turned 9, it is time to practice muscles and bones, laying the foundation for martial arts. She doesn't want him to fall again. Tang Lian was lost in thought upon hearing this, her eyebrows furrowed and tangled. Qingfeng junior brother's temperament has long been known to him, he treats things with utmost indifference, has a broad mind, and is not bound by small details. But at the same time, he is extremely firm about what he believes. In the past 6 months, Second Master has forcibly taken junior Qingfeng away from the library to practice martial arts. But every time Qingfeng junior brother runs back, over and over again, the entire Snow Moon City knows that junior brother Qingfeng loves reading. If anyone has something to ask for, they can definitely find it at the library. Behind the scenes, I don't know how many people are heartbroken and have wasted such unparalleled talent. Gradually, I also gained a nickname, Bookworm. Okay. Tang Lian nodded and agreed. As the senior brother of Xueyue City, he also doesn't want to see Qingfeng's unparalleled talent wasted in the library. Li Hanyi breathed a sigh of relief and a hint of coldness flashed in his eyes as he looked towards the library. Miss Li Hanyi, one of the 5 sword immortals in the Tang dynasty, and the second lord of the Snow Moon City, famous all over the world. As long as she is willing, even the princes and princesses of various dynasties will eagerly queue at the entrance of Snow Moon City, just to be her disciple. Now that I have finally taken in my apprenticeship, I have actually taken in a bookworm. She even had to climb a pole to find her while practicing martial arts every day. She can't swallow this breath. Today, let him see that even though he has unparalleled talent, he can only be captured with absolute force. Reading is a dead end. P.S. New book release, seeking flower review tickets, monthly review tickets. Chapter 6. Using Fingers as Swords. Shocked Li Hanyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Library. Ah, cut, Li Qingfeng sneezed coldly and touched her nose. How do you feel? Like your back is a bit cold. Shaking his head, Li Qingfeng was about to continue reading when suddenly a strong wind came from behind. A long spear sprinted towards me. Li Qingfeng raised his eyebrows and easily dodged the book in his hand. Bookworm, today I'll beat you up. The person who came was Xikong Qianluo, holding a long spear at this moment, with a heroic demeanor and a proud and charming face. I'm very confident. Li Qingfeng joked, holding a scroll in his hand and lightly tapping his feet, as he flew down from the window of the library. He is afraid that he will damage the book next. After all, those are all his precious treasures, brushed the score secret. Humph. With a cold snort, Xikong Qianluo thought he wanted to run and quickly followed. Your Excellency, book collector. Xikong Qianluo pointed his gun at Li Qingfeng, who had a calm face, and as he looked at him, he became more and more angry, especially with his indifferent appearance. He loudly said, "Last time you dared to spank me, I must return it today." So confident, it seems that you have made a breakthrough in martial arts. Li Qingfeng's handsome face remained indifferent, looking at the infuriated and beautiful girl across from him with great interest. Besides reading, teasing this future unparalleled beauty has also made life much more interesting. Humph. Upon hearing this, Xikong Qianluo's proud and coquettish expression could no longer be concealed. With a long spear, his young face raised its small chin, imitating the appearance of a martial arts hero. I am not talented, my martial arts have broken through to the 5th level, and my marksmanship has improved slightly. Upon hearing this, Li Qingfeng held back and almost burst out laughing. I said, why didn't we play the sneak attack today? It turns out you're sure you hit me head-on. In the past 6 months, Xikong Qianluo has repeatedly attacked him, but he has always taught him a lesson. And every time he teaches a lesson, he only uses slightly more cultivation than her. This also caused Xikong Qianluo to still believe that Li Qingfeng's cultivation level was only 7th grade. Stop talking nonsense, I'll fight until you're done today. Xikong Qianluo's beautiful eyes fixed on him, his spear trembling. Fiercely charging forward, the tip of the gun tinged with coldness. Li Qingfeng nodded secretly. This shot was indeed beginner's level, more than enough to defeat ordinary experts. Unfortunately, he had already entered the realm of Vajra. The difference in realm is too great. I saw him calmly, holding a book and carrying his hands on his back, calm and composed. Stay close to the tip of the gun, change your step, and easily dodge with an extremely eerie amplitude. Xikong Qianluo's beautiful eyes froze and cursed inwardly, this damn footwork. Then he stabbed several times, and there was a faint shadow in the air. TSK, this is a tough move. Li Qingfeng didn't panic at all, and even spoke out to joke. He carried a book with his left hand and carried it behind his back, while his right hand lightly thrust towards the barrel of the gun. Ding! A crisp sound. Xikong Qianluo's eyes showed shock, and the gun's body trembled with tremendous force. Bang! The spear was released and fell to the ground. Accompanied by Xikong Qianluo, he couldn't stand steadily and his face flashed with panic. At this moment, an arm passed through her waist and gave a strong grip, holding her in her arms. Shua! Xikong Qianluo's face turned red in an instant, and his beautiful eyes looked at the handsome face within reach, his heart racing. Li Qingfeng smiled at the corner of his mouth, and his deep eyes leaned close to her ear, saying in a deep voice, "Little girl, you've grown up." People who practice martial arts develop their bodies faster than ordinary people. Now, in just half a year, that little girl has already stood tall and graceful. Xikong Qianluo felt his arms exerting more and more force, and his face immediately turned even more crimson. His immature face was like a peach. She grew up carefree from a young age and had never been close to men, so she couldn't bear such scenes. Especially with Li Qingfeng as her partner, she is currently in a state of chaos and cannot even speak. Not far away, in the dark. Tang Lian's face was shocked and she said with a smack of her tongue, "Junior brother Qingfeng has been teasing my junior sister all along." With ease, this cultivation level has reached at least the 3rd level. You should know that junior brother Qingfeng has only been practicing for half a year, and he spends most of his time reading books in the library every day. If all of this talent is used to cultivate martial arts, maybe we're almost catching up with him now. Unbelievable. On the side, Li Hanyi's eyes were icy cold as he looked at Li Qingfeng holding Xikong Qianluo and said coldly, "Now you know why I'm looking for you. If one diligently cultivates swordsmanship, their future ascent to the realm of sword immortal is guaranteed. Don't worry, second master. I'm going to stimulate junior brother now." Tang Lian has a simple and honest personality, with a serious expression on her face at this moment. After speaking, he flew out and shot out a hidden weapon in his hand, laughing loudly. Qingfeng junior brother, you always bully junior sister. Today, I will teach you a lesson for junior sister. Li Qingfeng held the still shy Xikong Qianluo and easily dodged the hidden weapon, then smiled and said. Senior brother, you're bullying people. No, it's just a sparring between senior brothers. Tang Lian's eyes darkened as she shot a hidden weapon in her hand. A series of flying knives shimmered with cold light, as fast as lightning. Well done. Li Qingfeng burst out laughing, just as his cultivation had just broken through the diamond realm. He took his senior brother to test his sword. Lightly tapping under his feet, Li Qingfeng's figure flickered as he dodged through hidden weapons. The distance between the two is constantly getting closer. Tang Lian's heart was shaken. He was not only the eldest disciple of Snow Moon City, but also the eldest senior brother of the Tang sect. A skilled hidden weapon, renowned in the martial arts world. Although it was a test now, all the hidden weapons were easily dodged by my junior brother, and his strength made him unable to resist being moved. You know, junior brother Qingfeng is only 9 years old now. Looking at Li Qingfeng, who was shorter than herself and had a childish face, Tang Lian felt the pressure for the first time. Steadily gritted his teeth, never leaving a hand, and the speed of the hidden weapon in his hand soared. The air emitted bursts of piercing sounds. Not far away, Xikong Qianluo looked shocked and couldn't help but shout, Senior brother, you're really playing, Li Qingfeng, be careful. TSK, I didn't expect you to care a lot about me. Facing the sky full of hidden weapons, Li Qingfeng smiled at her. Xikong Qianluo had a worried expression on his face and stomped his foot angrily, you focus. This is a hidden weapon of the Tang sect. Carelessness can lead to serious injuries. But at this moment, Li Qingfeng had a smile on his face, a straight figure, carrying a backpack on his left hand and folding his sword with his fingers together on his right hand. Pointed out. Chapter 7. Horror Talent. I already know the future. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Pointed out with a single finger. Buzz. In the blue sky and white sun, suddenly a sword roar sounded. Li Qingfeng stood tall and straight, with a hunting sound in his robe. His emaciated figure was completely shrouded in a hidden weapon that covered the sky. Fingertips condense massive energy, like a thin film, causing all hidden weapons to stagnate in mid-air. The scene is spectacular. Everyone was stunned. Xikong Qianluo grew up with a pink mouth and widened his eyes, muttering to himself, impossible, how could this be? This is the Diamond Realm. At the age of 9, she entered the 5th grade and started her marksmanship. She is already a genius with exceptional talent in the world. Even if Li Qingfeng had a natural sword heart, he couldn't have improved his cultivation so quickly. This has already shattered her perception of genius. You should know that senior brother Tang Lian only entered the Diamond Realm at the age of 17. In the dark, Li Hanyi's eyes were shocked, and a huge wave surged in his heart, which could not be calmed for a long time. What kind of monster disciple am I receiving? A person who hides in the library every day has actually broken through to the Diamond Realm. And it only took 6 months. Throughout history, no one has ever achieved it. It can be said to be unprecedented. In the field, the most incredible thing is still Tang Lian. Watching Li Qingfeng effortlessly resist his overwhelming hidden weapons, a deep sense of loss rose in her heart. Under the sky full of hidden weapons, Li Qingfeng's eyes narrowed slightly and he said, Senior brother, I'm sorry. At the next moment, pointed out. A sword roar resounded through the sky, incredibly sharp. Shoo! Li Qingfeng's figure turned into a lingering shadow and instantly came to Tang Lian, with his fingers dotted in the center of his eyebrows. I have made concessions to senior brother. I lost. Tang Lian's expression was complex, and her heart was full of mixed flavors. As the senior brother of Snow Moon City, I was originally invited by Second Master to give Qingfeng junior brother some excitement, so that he can get lost and focus on practicing martial arts. As a result, I am now stimulated and can't help but doubt my life. What is the reason why I have been practicing martial arts diligently for so many years? Although I am also a genius, I am worthless in the face of unparalleled talent. Not far away, Xikong Qianluo regained his senses from the shock and muttered, "Li Qingfeng, are you still human? I have only been practicing martial arts for half a year. 9-year-old Diamond Realm. If this spreads, it will surely shock the world." Li Qingfeng smiled calmly and ignored the shock of the two. Instead, he looked not far away and spoke. "Master, Third Master, when are you going to hide it?" In the dark. Two figures walked out. It was Li Hanyi and Xikong Qingfeng. Originally, there was only Li Hanyi alone, but when Li Qingfeng used his finger as a sword to make a sword sound, Xikong Qingfeng was startled. "I just rushed over. Qingfeng, your talent is rare in the world." Xikong Qingfeng was shocked with appreciation, and couldn't help but praise from the bottom of his heart. Recently, a peerless genius named Xueyue emerged from Tianqi City, who entered the first grade at the age of 9 and shook the world. Even hailed as the Prince of Bailey. But compared to Li Qingfeng, he immediately disappeared from the crowd. "Humph." With a cold snort, Li Hanyi walked over with a cold face and said displeased, "Even if you have unparalleled talent, if you don't study martial arts diligently, you will eventually be surpassed by your peers. The path of martial arts lies in diligent learning and hard practice. Even geniuses are no exception." Li Qingfeng smiled and said, "Master, don't worry, I have a clear idea. If he relies on his current talent and focuses on practicing martial arts, the future will definitely be limitless. But with the assistance of a system, wouldn't reading improve one's cultivation faster and more fragrant? There have been no side effects yet. At this terrifying rate of improvement, it is impossible for peers to surpass him, and the gap will only be widened." Li Hanyi knew he didn't listen at all and was too lazy to talk nonsense. He immediately said, "Now that you have reached the Diamond Realm, I can teach you my swordsmanship as a teacher. Sword Immortal sword technique, profound and mysterious. The 9th grade of martial arts does not even qualify for cultivation. Only after transcending the 9th level and reaching the Diamond Realm can one cultivate." On the side, Tang Lian's face remained expressionless and he was still lost. On the contrary, Xikong Qianluo looked at Li Qingfeng with envy on his face. "This is one of the 5 sword immortals in the world in terms of swordsmanship. I don't know how many people in the world want to learn but can't. This guy is really cheap." However, the next second, Li Qingfeng said something shocking to everyone. "Master, I don't want to learn your swordsmanship." Boom. This statement is like a bolt from the blue in one place. Even Tang Lian, who doubted herself, widened her eyes and couldn't believe it. The 3 city lords, Xikong Qingfeng, frowned and thought that Li Qingfeng had shown his talent and was restless, so he said seriously, "Qingfeng, don't be arrogant or impatient. Your master's swordsmanship is top-notch in the world, incredibly mysterious." Li Hanyi's eyebrows were even more horizontal, his eyes completely cold, even the iron horse ice river in his hand was trembling, as he was about to draw his sword out of its sheath. Taking a deep breath, Li Hanyi asked coldly, "What do you mean? Do you think I can't teach you?" If it weren't for the past 6 months, she had understood Li Qingfeng's temperament. If it weren't for someone else, she would have already struck with one sword. Sword Immortal, not to be humiliated. Li Qingfeng's expression was calm, and his eyes were deep and serious. "Master, I know my future path." At this moment, Li Qingfeng is unprecedentedly serious, exuding strong confidence. That is a peerless genius's confidence in the future. His path, walk on your own. The atmosphere is stiff. Xikong Qianluo and Tang Lian nervously looked at Li Hanyi, who remained silent, their hearts trembling. If second master gets angry, no one can save Li Qingfeng. Even Xikong Changfeng on the side secretly wielded his power, ready to save the future heritage of this snow moon city at any time. Li Hanyi looked deeply at Li Qingfeng with a sincere and confident expression, lost in thought, and sighed for a long time. Okay, since you found your own way, I'll support you. It's a pity to come find me anytime when you encounter something you don't understand. Li Hanyi eventually compromised, and it was the same when she practiced martial arts back then. Every martial arts practitioner will eventually embark on their own path. It's just a matter of speed. And Li Qingfeng walked on his own path faster than others, just making her master appear somewhat lacking in sense of achievement. Master Xie has completed it. Li Qingfeng breathed a sigh of relief in his heart and quickly smiled and saluted. He was also gambling just now that Li Hanyi would agree. Obviously, he won the bet. In the future, even if he lives in a library, no one will talk about him again. Finally able to brush rewards with peace of mind. P.S. Thank you, Flying Boss, for your reward and monthly pass. Thank you, Boss. Chapter 8. Time 6.5 years. Sword Intent soars to the sky. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Since the last competition, Li Qingfeng has completely let himself go. Staying in the library all day, sleeping on the bookshelf when tired, and even having food delivered. Even so, Li Hanyi never forced him to practice martial arts again. This has also led to a gradual increase in rumors and gossip in Xueyue city. It is said that his talent is unparalleled, but he willingly falls. Some people also say that his talent was ruined and he was released by Snow Moon City. Various versions of rumors are bizarre, but they are widely accepted by everyone. After all, how could a peerless genius be allowed to stay in the library all day? Thus, Li Qingfeng gradually ceased to be mentioned. It seems like everyone has already disappeared. 1 year later. Library. Ding. The host reads 1,000 volumes of precious books and receives a reward of Haranjingqi. Li Qingfeng's face showed surprise and couldn't help but say, it's actually Haran's righteousness. In history, there was only one person with noble righteousness, the sage Mencius. Hundreds of years ago, Mencius comprehended the noble and righteous spirit, standing firm and unyielding against 1,000,000 teachers alone. Surprisingly, it made the 1,000,000 tiger masters feel intimidated, and in the end, their military morale dissipated and they retreated. A catastrophe was solved without using a single soldier. At this point, Haranjingqi is well known throughout the world. But no one knows how strong it really is. Because throughout his life, Mencius never made a move. Since his death, no one has successfully cultivated. Li Qingfeng's eyes lit up, his eyes were incredibly clear, and his body was filled with a surge of righteous energy. At this moment, he felt the world so clear, as if he could instantly borrow the power of heaven and earth if he wanted to. This feeling is extremely mysterious. Li Qingfeng's eyes were flickering, forcing him to suppress the urge to try his sword and continue looking at the book in his hand. The ancient said that practicing the heart is like refining iron. The stronger the impulse, the more I have to resist it. Time rotates again. Another year later. Ding. The host reads 2,000 volumes of precious books and receives a reward of 100 years of martial arts cultivation. Boom. Li Qingfeng, who was engrossed in reading, was suddenly shocked. The waves spread around him, with him at their center. Free environment. Li Qingfeng breathed a sigh of relief. Now that he is 11 years old, he has officially stepped into a state of freedom. Through this year of cultivation, he can also proficiently master the Haranjingqi in his body. At this moment, he is terrifyingly strong. Even the top powerhouse of the Xiaoyao heavenly realm, Li Qingfeng has confidence in winning. Even he wanted to ask Jian Li Hanyi Fortunately, I forced myself to hold back. Hanyi, as one of the 5 sword immortals in the world, has reached the peak of his cultivation in the great Xueyue realm. The two differ by 2 great realms. I guess they can make themselves vomit blood with just one sword. Qingfeng smiled indifferently and shook his head. I'm still too greedy. I've only been in the Snow Moon City for 2.5 years, and I actually have the delusion of asking the sword immortal of the world. With a self-deprecating smile, Qingfeng continued to read the book. Time rotates, 4 years later. Library. At the age of 15, Qingfeng has become a graceful young man, dressed in a white gauze shirt, with handsome features, sparkling eyes like stars, and a slender figure. The temperament is clean, revealing a hint of freedom. Ding. The host reads 5,000 volumes of precious books and receives a reward of 100 years of cultivation. Fiercely, Qingfeng, who was reading a book, felt the power inside his body and was surprised. The instantaneous fluctuations made it impossible for him to suppress them. The power within the body rampages forward and forth. Hiss. It's over, I can't suppress it anymore. Qingfeng's face turned white and he broke out in a cold sweat. He had been deliberately suppressing his cultivation all along. Now, with a sudden increase of 100 years of cultivation, it can no longer be suppressed. Qingfeng's face showed helplessness. If he didn't release his internal abilities, he would explode and die. He could only use his fingers as a sword and swipe towards the top of the library. This finger is full of Taoist charm as it marks through the air. A huge sword energy surged in the wind, instantly splitting open the roof of the library attic and soaring into the sky. Boom! The clouds were instantly split open by sword energy. A massive energy storm. Several figures flashed in an instant. My library. The 3 city lords, Qingfeng, let out a mournful cry, and their eyes were filled with pain. He is in charge of the finance of Snow Moon City, and the materials used for the construction of the library are extremely precious, including martial arts classics collected over the years. They are all priceless treasures. This time, the losses are huge. Hanyi's eyes were even more strange, as she fiercely looked at Qingfeng standing in the ruins with a face full of conversation. This sword intent, this power, Xueyue Heavenly Realm. Unbelievable. 15-year-old Xueyue Tianjing. Tang Lian and Xikong Qianluo were even more stunned, dumbfounded on the spot, murmuring to themselves. Tang Lian. I just entered the realm of freedom. Xikong Qianluo said, I have just entered the realm of Vitra. This sword can directly chop them both. It's too scary, it's simply not human. Ahem. Qingfeng saw everyone coming, especially Qingfeng, whose eyes seemed to be trying to eat people. He awkwardly said. I accidentally broke through the realm, I really can't suppress it. A few people looked at him in silence. What does it mean to accidentally break through a realm? This is the Xueyue Heavenly Realm, ranking among the top powerhouses in the world, and each one is a hegemon. They are all famous figures in the martial arts world. Did you accidentally break through? Also, what does it mean that you can't suppress it anymore? Does this mean you've been suppressing cultivation before? According to what you mean, you could have set foot in the carefree realm long ago, but you have always been unwilling, right? Even the Snow Moon Sword Immortal Hanyi and the Spear Immortal Qingfeng couldn't help but feel a tingling sensation upon hearing these words. Tang Lian and Xikong Qianluo opened their mouths wide, making everyone numb. People compare to each other, it's infuriating. They practiced martial arts desperately, but couldn't compare to Qingfeng reading books. Hanyi broke the deadlock and took out a battle card from his pocket, saying, Since you have broken through to the Xueyue Heavenly Realm, let you take on the challenge of the No Twin Cities battle post on your behalf. Since Hanyi defeated the Lord of Wushuangqing, Song Yan, with one sword in his youth. The unparalleled city lord challenges Li Hanyi every year. In previous years, it was Li Hanyi who personally went to battle, but now he happens to be training his disciple. P.S. Did anyone watch it? What a panic, is there no one in the comments section? Someone said something. Chapter 9. Ruoyi from the City of Apocalypse, a stunning young girl. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. Li Qingfeng took over the battle post, his interest greatly increased in his eyes. Since crossing over to this world, I have come to Snow Moon City without stopping. Now that I am 15 years old, I have never ventured into the world. I can just go and take a look this time. At this moment, Xikong Qianluo's face on the side turned ugly. Wushuang City battle posts. That's Song Yanhui, the lord of Wushuang City, who has reached the pinnacle of his cultivation in the carefree heavenly realm. Xikong Qianluo's pretty face was extremely pale, and his eyes were full of worry and confusion. How could Li Qingfeng, who had just entered the carefree realm, possibly beat Song Yan back? As a world-renowned hegemon, Song Yanhui is only one step away from entering the realm of great freedom and is a top-notch powerhouse in the world. Tang Lian also showed confusion on her face. Second master wouldn't want junior brother to die, would he? Staring at the three city lords, Xikong Changfeng, blew his beard and glared. You two still have poor knowledge. The sword from Qingfeng just now had a lot of tricks inside. If it weren't for the powerful sword energy, he wouldn't have been surprised to come. After all, as the number one city in the world, Snow Moon City has too many things to keep him busy with. Boom. The two of them were completely stunned and their minds were buzzing with excitement. If I had just been shocked by Li Qingfeng's breakthrough in cultivation to the realm of carefree heaven. So now it's just a burst of sweat from the bottom of my heart. Qingfeng junior brother, as soon as he enters the Xiaoyao heavenly realm, can he fight against a hegemon like Lord Song? Tang Lian was completely shocked and her head was dizzy. That's the lord of a city without twin cities. Before Snow Moon City, the number one city in the world had always been without twin cities. A skinny camel is bigger than a horse. Upon hearing what third master said, can Qingfeng junior brother really fight against Lord Song's city? Xikong Changfeng glanced at Li Qingfeng and saw his careless appearance before saying. Even if Qingfeng's strength surpasses that of Song Yanhui, it is highly possible. Otherwise, do you think that Hanyi would be willing to let his precious disciple die? Even if Li Hanyi is willing, he is definitely unwilling. Li Qingfeng is extremely important in his heart, it is the foundation of the future of Xueyue City. Xikong Qianluo was dumbfounded and pointed at Li Qingfeng, who was indifferent to the side. He couldn't help but say, how could he, just a bookworm, defeat the lord of Wushuang City? According to this, for so many years, he has been playing with himself. Otherwise, with his strength, he could solve her with just one finger. Li Qingfeng's lips curved slightly as she looked at her buttocks and said meaningfully, I like reading, but I'm not a fool. Junior sister, speaking like that would make me sad. Schwa. Xikong Qianluo's pretty face was blushing with embarrassment, and he looked away, as if he could vaguely feel a slap on his buttocks. That feeling is extremely shameful in the eyes of others. At this moment, Xikong Qianluo realized his conscience and felt extremely guilty when Li Qingfeng spoke, even blushing and afraid to look directly at him. Xikong Changfeng comforted and said, all right, learn more from your senior brother Qingfeng. He is upright and has a pure and kind personality. He has been letting you down for so many years, so you can't be petty anymore. Originally, Xikong Changfeng was kind-hearted, but at this moment, Xikong Qianluo sounded extremely harsh. I can't help but mutter in my heart. Dad, do you know that Li Qingfeng, who you consider to be naturally pure, has secretly spanked your own daughter countless times over the years? Do you still want to learn from him now? Xikong Qianluo's anger didn't beat a single spot, and his beautiful eyes looked angrily at Li Qingfeng. I saw him with an innocent appearance, and his heart was even more suffocated. This big bad guy. A bookworm with a black belly. Rest tonight and depart tomorrow. With a command from Hanyi, her graceful figure instantly disappeared. Upon seeing this, Qingfeng no longer stayed, as there were still many things for him to decide in Xueyue city. Back garden. Qingfeng and his companions are traveling together, and tomorrow they will set off to fight in Wuhuang city. Therefore, he is no longer staying in the library. The three of them walked and talked, with smiles on their faces. Tang Lian couldn't help but complain, Qingfeng junior brother, I've been going to fight with you for the past few years. Have you been letting me down? 5 years ago, after Qingfeng entered the realm of Vajra, Tang Lian quickly emerged from her disappointment. Then I went to the library to find him and practice martial arts when I had nothing to do. 5 years have passed, and Tang Lian has made rapid progress. Her cultivation has reached a state of freedom, and among the younger generation, she is already among the top of the pyramid. And all of these are thanks to sparring with Qingfeng. Qingfeng chuckled at the words and candidly said, at first, I didn't give in. I left a hand behind. I just said, how come every time I sparred with you in the past 2 years, I immediately gained a lot of insights. The speed of martial arts cultivation is at least twice as fast as before. Every time we spar, it's you who guides me. Tang Lian looked up at the sky in silence. A good junior brother has suddenly become half a master. Where can we make sense of this? Qingfeng smiled but remained silent, nodding until the end. Continuing further would be detrimental to unity. Sitting beside him, Luo couldn't help but envy him. He gave Qingfeng a fierce glare and angrily said, Senior brother, you're pretty good. At least you can guide me in our sparring. Every time I fight with him, I crush him unilaterally and always hit me in the buttocks afterwards. Speaking of the end, Luo became angry with embarrassment and held back hard. She doesn't want a third person to know about this embarrassing thing. At this moment, a young girl walked towards her. The girl was dressed in a sky blue light veil, with stunning facial features. Her neck was snow-white, revealing a delicate collarbone. Her big eyes were as light as a stream, and there was a hint of sadness between her eyebrows. Her temperament was elegant. The beauty of the country. Sister Ruoyi. Qianluo's sister. Ruoyi's calm face revealed surprise. Qianluo smiled and said, Sister Ruoyi, let me introduce you to senior brother Tang Lian. You know that this bookworm is the second senior brother of Xueyue city, Qingfeng. After speaking, his eyes showed mystery and he whispered, you must stay away from him, he's really bad. Qingfeng twitched at the corners of his mouth and glanced at her. He could not help but murmur in his heart. Innocent Qianluo junior sister, you have the delusion of whispering in front of a powerful person in the carefree realm. How innocent. Then he turned his gaze to Ruoyi, admiring her as another unparalleled beauty of the future. This kind of woman is suitable for being a housekeeper and managing finances. Immediately, he arched his hand and said in a loud voice, Qingfeng, have you met Miss Ruoyi? I have met the young master Qingfeng in Xueyue Ruoyi. Ruoyi looked at Qingfeng with clear water-like eyes, and a hint of amazement flashed in her eyes. This man's appearance and temperament are even stronger than Chuhi's brother in Tianqi city. P.S. The harem, don't worry, Hanyi and the like can't escape. It just needs plot preparation, and the mindless harem is not interesting for you to watch. Chapter 10. Drinking under the moon and trying swords. Shocked Ruoyi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. At night, the moon is bright and the stars are sparse. Snow Moon City, Garden Pavilion. Qingfeng, dressed in white, sat alone on the stone railing of the pavilion, his eyes gazing at the moonlight on the horizon. TSK, this wine is not very good. Qingfeng took a sip of wine, his eyes showing disgust. Now his cultivation has broken through to the realm of carefree heaven. Even if he doesn't deliberately use his martial arts to disperse wine, ordinary fine wine is like water to him. I can't taste it, come out. Unfortunately, this moonlight pavilion. Li Qingfeng sighed, his handsome face full of helplessness. Oh. Do you have any research on alcohol? A frivolous voice sounded, and a figure in the distance rushed over, crossing the void under the moonlight. The visitor was dressed in a blue brocade robe, with black hair draped over his back and white hair as a beard on both sides of his forehead. His beard was shaky, and he had a bold and straightforward expression. Li Qingfeng raised his eyebrows, feeling a deep shock in his heart. This person's martial arts cultivation was divine, and his body technique of crossing with one hand was extraordinary. He couldn't even feel it when he approached. Little friend, why don't we come together? The man acted generously and without any pretense, lying on the top of the pavilion, taking out a pot of fine wine. Why not? Li Qingfeng flipped over and immediately sat cross-legged, his nose twitching lightly, and his bright eyes flickered away. This wine has a strong and light aroma, intoxicating and refreshing. The contradiction is extreme. But it makes people know with just a sip that this is definitely the finest wine in the world. The man was drunk and confused, and smiled, you haven't answered my question yet. Do you have any research on alcohol? Although her tone was light, Li Qingfeng felt a hint of pressure at this moment, which was a kind of spiritual pressure. I can't explain the way clearly. Reason told him that as long as he followed his words, it was enough. But Li Qingfeng turned to a smile and said freely, I don't love wine. For me, wine is just a container that can hold my joys, sorrows, and joys. At that moment, drinking alcohol is to match the moonlight pavilion. The man's eyes narrowed slightly, he gave him a deep glance, and laughed heartily. Miao Zai, little one, you really suit my taste. After speaking, the man waved his hand and shot a glass of wine into the air. Li Qingfeng reached out and slowly caught it, smelling the aroma of the wine, with a smile on his handsome face. Take a sip. Hiss. Li Qingfeng's face turned pale and blue, and a burst of hot air emanated from his head. After a while, he took a deep breath and smiled, saying, it's so refreshing. This wine can actually improve his physique and enhance his cultivation. Amazing. Li Qingfeng immediately stood up and smiled, saying, thank you, master. This unparalleled wine can only be brewed by the current wine Immortal, Dongjun by Li. Moreover, this place is a crucial area of the Snow Moon City, and it is impossible for ordinary people to enter. There was only one person standing in front of him. The great lord of Snow Moon City, the current wine Immortal, and the 100-mile East Lord. Breaking through to the mysterious realm with half a step of cultivation. He is the man who truly stands at the pinnacle of military power in the world. Bai Li Dongjun drank a glass of wine and raised his eyebrows, which was not surprising. I have been searching overseas for medicinal herbs for brewing in recent years, but I have gained some understanding of your situation. As your master, I will give you 7 glasses of wine today. He is naturally generous towards demons with unparalleled talent. Anyway, they are all his own people, and in the future, Snow Moon City may have to rely on him to protect it. Immediately, Bai Li Dongjun waved his sleeve. 7 transparent wine glasses appeared suspended in the air. A pot of white wine was taken out by him, and he stretched out his hand. The wine turned into thread and circled in the garden. Flowers fall, petals dance with the wine. The scene is as beautiful as a fairyland. This is his unique brewing method. Li Qingfeng's eyes lit up as he looked around, surrounded by the fragrance of wine. Just taking a sip made him feel refreshed and refreshed. Finally, pour the wine evenly into 7 glasses. Bai Li Dongjun reached out his hand as a guide and said, please. Li Qingfeng took a deep breath, simply picked up a glass and drank it down. Cool. After drinking a glass of wine, Li Qingfeng felt a hint of drunkenness in his clear eyes, with a smile on his lips and a slight blush on his face. Take another cup and drink it with your head up in the pavilion. My body is like ice and fire, and my internal power surges. Bai Li Dongjun looked at him and drank wine happily. This wine is really strong. Li Qingfeng relaxed all over, looking at the moonlight, as if a bright light flashed through his drunken eyes. At this moment, he wants to dance the sword. Sword. With a crisp sword roar, a sword shot straight from the shadows. Li Qingfeng laughed heartily, held the sword hilt in his hand, jumped down, and began to dance his swordsmanship on the ground. Not far away, Ruoyi looked at the sword scabbard in her hand with a shocked expression, incredulous. Xiaoyao Tianjing. This young man, surprisingly, has a cultivation level in the Xiaoyao heavenly realm. Unbelievable. Even in Tianqi City, Xiao Chuha, who is known as the most talented person in the world, has just stepped into the realm of freedom. Peach Blossom Temple in Tawawawu, Peach Blossom Fairy in Peach Blossom Temple. The Peach Blossom Fairy grows peach trees and picks peach blossoms to sell wine for money. The sword in Li Qingfeng's hand was disorganized, but it wreaked havoc on the edges of the sword and surrounded him. My body is even more crooked, as if I will fall to the ground in the next moment. Li Qingfeng leaped forward and waved his hand in mid-air, and a glass of wine rushed away in an instant. Take a cup into your throat. Between laughter. When sober, I only sit in front of the flowers, and when drunk, I come to sleep under the flowers. Half awake and half drunk day after day, flowers falling and blooming year after year. Li Qingfeng's tone was lazy, and his face turned even redder, as if he was completely drunk. His swordsmanship became even more chaotic. The surrounding flowers, plants, and trees trembled uncontrollably, but there was no damage at all. Wave your hand and have another drink. I hope to die of old age in the flower wine room, unwilling to bow in front of carriages and horses. Rich people are attracted by the dust of cars and horses, while poor people are attracted by the wine vessels, flowers, and branches. The swordsmanship becomes increasingly chaotic, while the sword's sharpness becomes more brilliant. A few meters around him, the sword rays formed a cocoon, and the flashing sword light made it difficult to see his figure clearly. I can only vaguely see him constantly dancing his sword shining brightly. On the pavilion, Bai Li Dongjun's eyes were bright and he excitedly muttered to himself, "What a person who hopes to die of old age in the flower and wine room, unwilling to bow in front of carriages and horses, with ambition. Even if I die between peach blossoms and fine wine, I am unwilling to bow and flatter in front of the carriages and horses of high-ranking officials and dignitaries." This is the grandeur and soul, as well as the essence and spirit of martial artists. P.S. The climax of this book is coming soon, asking for flowers, evaluation tickets, monthly tickets, and comments. Everyone support me, let me see you, don't let me stand alone. In addition, I will carefully read every book review of this book, but since I can only reply to 2 in a day, I may not be able to reply to many people.